We're back at it, and I'm in the process. I know I said I was going to do a lot of jigs, and I am in this month. But in the meantime, I started putting together what I'm going to need for the next guitar build, and I just wanted to show you how that was working out. We're also going to take and drill. This is the front neck block, and we're going to drill that in just a minute. We cut that already out of a piece of wood that was like so, only it was a little longer with some other pieces. And it's a mahogany lightweight from Fiji, and I got to tell you, it is so incredibly light. It's amazing stuff. So no wonder the guitar has no weight to it. So I'm putting all the parts together, and we're going to make parts, and you'll see me do that, and I'll be using some jigs to do that, and I'll explain the jig as I go along, and maybe you can make your own jig if you so desire. So what have I got here? Well, I've got what's going to be the X braces on the neck, and these are sanded down to 280 thousandths of an inch, which is just over a quarter of an inch, and they're all ready to go, so I don't have to do anything with this. So what I do is I put it all here in the top drawer of my little workbench here, so I have all the parts together that we're going to need. When we need them, I know where to go. I just open the drawer and there's what I need. Also, and this is really, really incredible, this is so thin. This is purfling. This is very, very thin stuff, and it's probably around 10 thousandths of an inch. I've got several of them. They're going to run down the side of the fingerboard, which is here on the workbench, and it's really delicate stuff. As you can see, it's almost like having wings. It just got to be careful with that stuff. So I then have binding to use here, and here is some of the binding that I'm going to be putting around the neck. This is ebony, and this is a striped ebony on the end here. I have enough out of this to make it ebony all the way around, and so with the light maple color, that's going to look really good. I'm really happy about that. So I've got all those pieces all set, ready to go, and when we use the jig to shape the fingerboard, you'll see me cut the slots, and then I'll shape it down and I'll glue it together so you can see that. Now, I was going to use a piece of Brazilian for the bridge, but I have a piece of Zirconi here, and I really like the look of this wood. It's got nice graining running through it here. It's drilled on the two E's so that I can glue it on and clamp it nicely. So it needs to be shaped and cut down and have all that stuff done to it. So we know we're going to use this. Into the drawer it goes. And then this is heavy. This is obviously ebony. So when I cut this down here, it's going to be 1 3/4 inches for the width where the nut will be, and then up here it will be, did I say 1 3/4? 1 3/4, right. It's 1 3/4 for the ebony neck down at this end, and it's about 2 1/4 coming across at the 14th fret. So this is thicker than what I'm going to need it, so we're going to sand it down thin to actual size, cut it, shape it, and you'll see us do all of that. Now, what I've got here is some pieces that I made. This is a rosette that I made some time ago, and this is a wagon wheel shape. It's got, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 parts to it, and there it is. I just made that. It's got a little backing on it that I glued everything to before I cut it, and then I cut it out with the router and then cut out the other end with the router, and that's what you end up with. Well, it starts out looking like this, where you've got it all pieced in here, and this is the purflings running across here. This is my center point. So when I route it, I will put the router pin on here, bring it out, and then run it around, and then run it around again and cut right through it. And when I do that, that's what I end up with. So I've got a couple of pieces here. There's a different one that I did, and I don't like it. I don't like the, this is a mahogany wood and also maple. And honestly, I think it looks real chintzy. I don't like it at all. I'm leaving it in there just in case we need it. This happens to be walnut and Brazilian rosewood. that I've got in here from some scraps that I had. You don't waste anything when you're building guitars, by the way. You keep all kinds of odd shapes of wood so that you'll use them at some point in the future. Now, this is a marking gauge. There's a thumb screw here where you can loosen this off and then move it to wherever you want. And the idea is that you take this, you get your center line, and then you just draw it down your side of your wood, turn it around, it should be right on the line, and it is. So I know that that line that I've cut into the wood actually, because there's a little like a razor blade wheel on the end of this right up in here, and that cuts right into the wood, so you're never going to lose your center line. You'll always know where that is. So what I have to do now, since we've cut all of this off of here, I'm going to go over and drill out some of these holes here. And I have measured how deep I want them to go, and that will leave me about a ½ an inch protruding out of the end of here of a bolt, so that when we bolt it onto the neck, we're all good to go. Now, this is obviously some fret wire. I have lots of fret wire on hand, and so I'll be using this on the guitar, so we'll put that in the drawer. We don't need it quite yet, but we will need it very soon. This is a tail block. If this is the neck block, this is at the tail end of the guitar. So this is plywood. It doesn't really matter. Plywood works extremely well, especially if you're going to be putting in a hole and putting a pickup through there, and you don't want anything moving or whatever. This just works perfectly. So this is Baltic birch, and I'm not sure of the dimensions of this. Is I think 4 5/8 inches in height. Yes, actually it's 3/8 of an inch, 4 3/8, and it is 3 inches wide. These blocks, they are 3 inches wide, and they are about 3 3/4 to 7/8 in height here. Now, that's obviously how it's going to sit, and the guitar body is going to be running downhill here towards the neck, which is going to extend out here. This is the porch molding you saw last week, so that's running out there like that, okay? So these are parts we're going to need, and what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to drill through here and get that all set up. So what do you say we go over to the drill? I've got it all set up, ready to go. So we're going to drill all of these, and once I've drilled these holes, and these holes, you mark which one of these is the top end. So put the TOP on there for it. You might want to mark bottom on here, because you're coming down 1 1/4 inches, and then you're coming 1 1/4 inches this way, or rather from this line, so that it's 2 1/2 inches from top to bottom. So the top, again, is right on 2 1/2, and yes, and 1 1/4. So it's down 1 1/4, and then it's down another 1 1/4. And the reason that that's important is if you ever want to put in a button for a strap, you've got to know when you've got the guitar all finished and built and everything, where you're going to drill up from the bottom or down from the top, so that you miss drilling into the bolts that are running through and holding the neck together. That would not be a good day. So let's head over to there, and we'll go to the drill press. I've got some wood there. We're going to do all 3 pieces here. And first thing we're going to cut out is the large hole here. This is a little over 3/4 of an inch. I'm going with 3/4 of an inch. I know the bolts will work in that just fine. So it's all good. That's what we're going to do. Let's go to it. All right, I think we're set. Now, just to be sure, I have set the depth gauge on the drill press so that it can only go down so far. So I know that it will all fit. I've already measured it with all the bolts, and I have one of the bolts here, and I've already measured that so that when the bolt is through the hole, it comes out exactly about a ½ an inch, which is all I want. So we'll do that right now. Now when you're drilling these, if you take your time and go through the hole very slowly as you're entering it, what it will do is center itself. And there you have it. You've got the 1/2 inch protruding out here, which is going to bolt onto the neck and keep that all nice and flush. And that looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. And it will be easy to get a wrench in there in order to tidy that up. So we've got this done. And what we're going to need to do now is some more work shaping the braces, and I've got more braces. All the braces on the top and the back are all radiused, so not yet, but they will be when we use the saw to do that over there. So that's it. That's all I want to show you for this video, because I'm starting to get tired, and I know that working in the shop is not a smart thing to do when you're feeling tired. So thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing, and thank you for all your comments and your good wishes for me to get better. I'm impressed that so many of you picked off the fact that my voice had changed somehow and you were curious as to what was going on. So thank you for that. All right, that's it. I'll see you in another video. Bye for now.